Thank you, Mother. Good morning, all of you. WIP students. First of all, I am really privileged to be standing before you guys. It gives me great energy, especially after the very invigorating sessions by Mr. Subbu, very enlightening sessions by Mr. Uday and Mr. Harsh. Guys, do you know how privileged you are that you have a chance, you have an opportunity to listen to these guys and learn from them. Are you aware of that? It's a privilege that you guys, they are making you ready for the industry. How many of you think it's a privilege that they... Okay, let me change the question. How many of you think it's not a privilege, it's just part of the course? No one. I'm glad. Let me tell you a little bit about myself before we start. My name is Kaamna Jain. I work with Nasscom. And what we do is... That's not what we do. Okay. So, taking a cue from what Mr. Uday said, India's tech ed. Now, tech ed was a term which I'm proud to say was coined by Nasscom. I don't know how many of you are aware of that, but we realized that with the technological advancements happening, the requirements of industry in terms of the talent that they're looking for is changing very fast. So we want to understand what is it that the industry is looking for so that the students can be prepared for what they're looking for. The old so we went to the industry, we told them, okay, what are the job standards that you want in terms of the future of work, the skills, the aptitude. Once we got those from the industry, we went to the training providers, we got those courses. Then we went to the government to get those courses accreditized, so that when you're doing a degree, we are not telling you to do something extra. We tell the government that, okay, give these courses credits, so that once you do these courses, you get credits which go towards your degree. So you're also learning a skill which is making you industry ready, and it's also part of your course. So you are not studying something extra outside. And then once you do those courses, we have a Talent Connect portal where you can put in your resumes and your skills, and we have a 3,200 member base who come there to look for talent and scout for talent. So that's a brief of about what we do. I'll just move forward. So, as we move towards the goal of $1 trillion digital economy, who is going to make it happen?
Somebody said us. I like that.
I like that. Absolutely. Mr. Subbu asked how many of you want to be placed. I have another question. How many of you want to be entrepreneurs? You want to set up your own businesses? Lovely. At least there's a 20% group here that wants to start their own business. That's great. You can job providers, and you'll be contributing much more to the value of, to the idea of that inevitable India. Whether you're in a job, whether you are a job giver, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have people working for you, all will need digital skills, right? But do we have those digital skills right now? Do we have the digital skills that we require to be the Vikasit Bharat of 2047? Let me just take you there. There is a 25% gap in what the industry is looking for and where we are at the moment. The gap has been reducing, but the technology has been moving so fast that if we don't skill up, if we don't do what it takes, the skill gap is going to increase. And by 2027, it will rise from 25% to 28%. Take a moment to absorb that. 25% gap is a huge gap. I believe you all are AI, data scientists and IoT specializing in these fields, right? Do you know currently what is the gap in the talent supply for AI? Any guesses? I'm talking about India. There's a 50% gap. So whether we're talking about Internet of Things, whether we're talking about big data, whether we're talking about AI, there is a 50% gap in what industry is looking for and what you guys are learning. So you need to, basically it depends on you to make sure that this gap is reduced, and it is so much reduced that there is no gap. Any questions? Yes, please.
As an university, like we are trying to find out opportunity. For example, if we go for AI, they first focus on the foundational skills like Python and SQL as a whole, and then they do the job of the AI. So, what I want to ask is like, as a leader, how do you protect ourselves to the company or to the startup that yes, even if you hire us free of cost, we will give our hour, but you hire us. So, how do we convince them of that? Let us have some experience in that area. Like, if we go for an engineer, they say you should know Python. But as a Python, they give us class, Django, but we want to work on analytics, Panda. Like, these are the libraries of Python for AI. So, I want to ask my how do you protect ourselves to the startup concern that yes, we can bring something to you this higher level?
What's your name? Keshav. That's a very good question. Let me repeat your question so that I understand what you're asking for. You were saying that if you have a skill in AI, how do you let the company know that you have that skill and they should hire you?
Yes.
Any answers? Or should anybody has any thoughts on that? If you have a skill, it is your responsibility to showcase that skill. And how will you do it? You will create some projects. You will create some app based on the language that you know. You'll create some algorithms. You'll put it on GitHub. You will put it on your LinkedIn resume. As Subbu rightly said, you will research which are the companies who are doing that kind of work. You will send your project to those companies. So you have to stand out from all your classmates over here.
Yes.
So you have to do that extra work. So your hackathons, so when you're doing your research, if you find out that there are some hackathons that are happening, you take part in those. It is your responsibility to showcase what you have, and make the recruiter or the company notice you. And that's not very difficult if you have the skill and if you can demonstrate that you have that skill. That will happen through projects, that will happen through hackathons, through your research. You reach out and you have X number of projects that are very well executed. There was a case where a student highlighted to one of the companies, top three, one of the FANGs, that there is an error in your program, and that person got a job in that company. So it depends on you how proactive you are and how you do your research. Showcase. Does that answer your question? Any other questions? Yes.
I think I can also add up some solution to this, that we can learn in public. And I think that is a very nice thing to do. I have learned that from a creator on YouTube. He used to post productive things. So he taught me that you should learn in public. If I am learning in public, that also makes me that he is a consistent person. He works on productivity at a certain age. So he thinks about his growth and his growth towards the followers he has.
Absolutely. What's your name?
Prashant.
So Prashant, what you're saying is, if you have something, you put out your content on social media, teaching others.
Yeah, right.
That's a very good point. I think Prashant has.
And also people think that how to make connections. So if someone like you said that you are on Twitter and Facebook. So if my video got viral, so he got to know about me. So whenever if he's the one who is placing me, so yeah, it's a very nice thing to do.
Absolutely. So use social media not to scroll,
Yeah,
but use it wisely to showcase yourself and your learnings and your skills.
There are a lot of, tech rooms, right, on GitHub or there are a lot of. Yeah, correct. Yeah, there are a lot of social media groups that focus on technology. I think make yourself visible, ask questions, answer some of the questions that come up, and just to add to the game of kabaddi, right? Right. We say that when the raider comes in, you have to let him in, right? Only then catch him. So if you want to go in, you play to their game, and once you go in, you can change the rules of the game. But you please remember, you can't be outside and try to change something. It just doesn't happen. We have to play to the rule. Like, you want to get into this company, you can't say, I know this technology, you adapt it, because you're at least for now you may look too small, right? So instead you learn what these company, and it's not so difficult to learn today, right? You learn, get in, and then probably say there's a better way of doing it. A lot of us try to change from standing outside and trying to change. It doesn't work that way.
Thank you, Mr. Subbu. Any other questions? I think when you ask questions, these are the questions that your peers have. I'm sure some of you also have those questions, and it helps in your learning and just getting that extra edge over others. So any other questions, or should I move ahead? Right. So Mr. Uday said very nice, he touched upon a topic that will AI take my job? Is that a question that any of you have in your mind? No, this is a very good group, very intelligent group.
To me, AI is not actually getting a job. It is only a tool. My book.
Yeah, so AI is a tool. So my only submission here is that a person who knows how to use this tool will probably get the job. So if you don't know how to use the AI tools, the latest tools that are coming up, and that means you constantly keep learning. I think that is one thing that each and every speaker before me has highlighted, that we need to continuously learn, unlearn and relearn. And just to give you an example from my own life story, I am a pass out from the Indian Institute of Mass Communication. I did English journalism. And then I moved into I was in a television house. I was a trainee correspondent there. And then I realized that is not something that running around politicians and taking their bites and running around, that is not something that I want to do. So I switched to research. Research that was basically reaching out to IT leaders, understanding their IT requirements and getting them the leads to actually meet those needs. From there I moved into research, where we're working with companies like Bank of America and Deloitte and all. So basically what we do there is we learn how to present the data in a form which is easy to understand. And from there into research, so there was a constant new learning of skills. And I'm sure that if you just depend on what you have learned in this course, there's not a long way that you will go. So just have an open mind that you're going to constantly keep learning new things and upgrading your arsenal, as they say, as you move along. So we know AI is everywhere. Healthcare, manufacturing, retail, banking, utilities. There is no aspect of art untouched by AI. So you have a very sound footing as you enter the workforce. But it depends on you how you take it forward. As we move, as AI takes over some of the automated jobs, there are new jobs that are going to come up. This is a very important slide. As somebody rightly said, that AI is a tool. So if you work with ChatGPT, it is only as good as your prompt. If your prompt is not good, you're not going to get the right answer. AI, ChatGPT or other tools, they have a tendency to hallucinate. So you give them a prompt which is not good, you will not get the right answer. As AI becomes more and more important, ethics, governance, those are the things that are becoming more and more important. New jobs are coming up, but you need to be prepared for those. And I'm here to talk about industry expectations. I think in terms of technical knowledge, you all must be way ahead of me, but since I talk to industry a lot, let me tell you what I hear from them. Creative thinking, problem solving, analytical thinking, lifelong learning. As they say, I asked someone, would you prefer aptitude or attitude when you hire a candidate? And they said, attitude is more important. Aptitude will teach the skills, but the candidate has to have the right attitude. Your communication skills. I don't know how many of you realize, but with English as your major language, you all have the ability to converse with some of your, other, I would say, compatriots in tier 2 or tier 3 cities. They have to overcome those constraints when they're entering the workforce. But you guys have an advantage. Make use of that. Work on your collaboration skills. Work on your communication skills. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. So when I say ask questions, if you don't ask questions, either you know everything or you're too shy to ask. Any questions? Anyone has any doubts on this? What's your name?
Yash. You said there is a gap between skills in the industry and what we are actually learning, and these are the skills that are actually required. So how do we develop them and show the recruiter that we actually know these things?
Okay, they're two separate things. One is a technical skill and one is a soft skill. So when companies are hiring, they will judge you for your tech skills. They will also judge you for your soft skills, which is like your creative thinking. So they'll give you some problems. So you have to be in that frame of mind to challenge yourself every day with new problems and think. That's your asset. When machines do a lot of work, which is like automated, you as a human bring that human creativity. So when I say demand and supply gap, that is between what is available in the market and what is required from the industry. That's a separate thing. And soft skill is something that you need to develop because that's going to be your advantage over machines. There are basically three things that that we hear from the industry. So one is your tech skills. One is your soft skills, and the third skill, very importantly, is domain skills. So you have some knowledge about a domain. For example, if you want to enter into the automobile industry, just having an AI knowledge will not help you to write the code to run that car properly. You need to know how that combustion engine works, or you need to know how the car works so that you can write the code accordingly. So we have moved away from that age where you just had the AI and you need to develop your soft skills. You need to have at least one domain skill, and that is of course dependent on what is your interest area. So don't follow what your peers are going after. You identify what is your interest, work on that, develop a domain, develop at least a ground of some domain knowledge. Your tech knowledge is there, and soft skills is something that you need to constantly work on. I hope you answered your question. There was somebody over there. Yeah. Just come. Yeah. What is right attitude? The question is, what is the right attitude? I will request Subbu to answer that question. What is the right attitude, Subbu?
Good question.
Oh no, there's a mic here. There's a mic here.
Yeah. Okay. Let me give you a little bit of this HR gyan. Okay. When you want to achieve anything in life, like you set some goal, right? we require competence. This is a very strong word, right? We say this guy is not competent to do this job, right? You will call an electrician and that fellow messes it up for you, then you say his competence gadbade. So actually it's a very strong but a very commonly used word. But technically if you dissect it, right, you have competence is skills, knowledge and attitude, right? Like if you take an example of a carpenter will require skills. He has to cut the wood, he has to saw it, he has to those are skills. Then what is the knowledge? If he wants to make a chair, he should know how a chair should look like. That is knowledge, right? And then the third one is attitude. Third one is, when we say attitude, he needs to have patience. Okay, you pick the wrong wood, it breaks down, then you need a lot of patience to fix it back, right? For example, if you are looking at typical attitude required for a software engineer, we say patience. You know that is an attitude. You will have to show a lot of assertion in your discussion with your client, right? These are the attitude where you are measured. Like when you are attending these interviews, right, people will basically look at we always use one particular word called learning attitude. Like people are, have you learned anything? Like in the 4 years, apart from your curriculum and answering and have you learned anything? Because industry says if people with a learning attitude, they do very well, especially when you are looking at new skills, right? And if that is the attitude, you should say I have learned this is the new skill that I have acquired. All this is when your attitude is there for learning, then the skills get acquired. So that is where we say attitude is a very, very important word. People are measuring you on that, right? You are smart, you are dynamic, like you come across as a very lazy person, right? That means your attitude towards work is lazy, right? That is how people are going to demarcate your attitude. Okay, the other two, please remember one thing, it's easier to acquire knowledge because you can read, you can browse, you can see everything. Skills can be learned, but attitude requires a lot of correction time. So attitude is how they measure, because it's not easy to mend attitude, it's easier to add skills into the person. Is that okay? My answer. Thanks.
Thank you.
Let me try a couple of examples. I think it is very apt, and thanks for sharing that this thing. But how I measure and learn, the attitude, by giving you one very, very small example and a story. As I said, carpenter, the example. There was a very skilled carpenter. Very, very skilled carpenter, and he was working, with a king, okay? And he was known for his skill, he was known for his beautiful articulation, architecture, and whatever job given to him was excellent. He always, learned, from whatever I think he did. And he improvised himself. Now he was about to retire. He told the king, I'm going to retire. And I'm going to go and, settle down in the mountains and whatever he wants to do. But the king said, just one last project I want to give you. Make a beautiful house for me. So it's a good learning which defines the attitude, and I'm just adding that. Listen to this carefully. He says, give me just one last beautiful piece which I would remember for my life, the king said to the carpenter. And the carpenter said, I'm going to retire, what I'm going to do. And he was a beautiful architecture. This guy he completed that project in 1 month. But it was not to that skill. He was not 100% happy. But he said, "Chalo, mera kaam khatam ho gaya. Now I'm retired." Absolutely good. And on the D-Day, when he was about to retire, the king said, "Here is the key. This is for you." And this guy was shocked. If I had known this was for me, I would have put in more extra efforts. I would have put in more things which I had learned and ideated, for others. So what do you learn from this? You learn from this is that consistently do not drop. You do not know when it is yours. Your attitude in all respect, whether you're working, you're at home, you're with your friends, who's going to watch you, monitor you, doing what? So your attitude is what is watched, right? Nothing more. And another question was on learning. Now, I give an example of the 4 quadrant, as you said 4 quadrant. I got different 4 quadrants of learning. the first step in learning, I think somebody asked, how do you step by step go on learning? Now, listen to this carefully because there are words and words needs to be understood. First and the foremost thing is, we all are not competent, right? Yes, we are not competent. We learn over a period of time and become competent. So the first thing you should understand is, there is a uncautious incompetency. So everybody is incompetent and you are uncautious about it. So this is the one quadrant. Have you understood? You are uncautious about it and you are incompetent. मेरे को नहीं पता मतलब ये क्या होता है कुछ नहीं होता and all that stuff. So I give a typical example of driving, which was given. You do not feel there is a need to be learning how to drive. Right. Okay. Now when you are uncautious and incompetent, it is not even the first step. The first step is when you are cautious and you are incompetent. You become cautious. I need to learn. Be it AI, be it anything, but you are yet incompetent. That's the first step towards it. Okay? So from an uncautious incompetency, you become a cautious, but you are incompetent. Third step, third quadrant, which is very, very important. And when you reach that quadrant, you start searching on the web, you start searching on this thing, which is cautious competence. You are cautious that yes, you need to learn and you become competent, but you are cautious competent. What is cautious competent example? You learn driving, but when you change the gear, your steering moves. So you have learned, you become, a learned, you are cautious. You're cautious but competent. What is the fourth stage and the final stage is? You are unconsciously competent. Even if you're talking, even if you are walking, you're walking straight, you're driving, you're changing, you're setting the music tone, you're even sometimes watching on the phone. So that unconsciously competent. Try to reach that stage on whatever learning you are having, and these are the steps to follow. I would repeat for the sake. You are first unconsciously incompetent, right? You're not knowing. Then you become cautious, but you are yet incompetent. Then you are unconsciously competent. And the last is you are the third is you are cautiously competent, and then is your uncautious competent. So you need to have your thing कि रात को भी चले जाओ फोन उठाओ हाँ इधर Facebook है इधर WhatsApp है इधर वो है. So your AI also should teach you that. So that's how you develop the skills one after the other. That's all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think you're answering your question. You had a question. Great. So just move to the next slide. Unless there's another question. I'll now just take a minute to talk about Future Skills Prime, which is our platform, which is basically a platform where we've put together courses from industry on professional skills, that is soft skills, as well as technical skills. So we have courses on design thinking, we have courses on creative problem solving, collaboration, communication. These are some of the courses that I have taken myself that I'm happy to recommend. If you guys have the time, you must go through them. We have a digital 101 literacy program where you get a very basic idea about all technology. So whether it's cyber, do you think you need to have an idea about cyber security? Anyone thinks you can do without cyber security? Why do you need cyber security? To learn about cyber security? It's a very quiet group now. Suddenly all the energy is gone out. Absolutely, definitely, yes.
Whenever we are building any AI-based product, the data is very important to be secure because most of the data are sourced out from private sources, and we have to respect the client customer data. So that's why cybersecurity measure is very essential.
Yeah, absolutely. So not just for businesses, but for you yourself as individuals, you need to be very, very careful so that your identity is not stolen, your accounts are not hacked. So all this, because AI brings a lot of functionality, not just to you, but to hackers and people who can use that information to actually do some mischief. So cybersecurity knowledge is very important. So we have all those courses. We have courses on RPA. I think I'll hand it to Madhav to bit about.
Okay. So thank you, Kaamna, for this. Future Skills Prime. So as Kaamna already said earlier in her speech that this is not something extra. This is not something extra. So what you're reading, you're studying in your college right now, in your curriculum. What it does is that on this platform, you will have the industry people putting in that curriculum. Okay. How many of you think that you can be great Python programmers? How many of you? How many of you? You can be good Python programmers and great Python programmers. How many of you? And why do you say so? Why?
Yes, sir.
Why do you say so? How about long time? How much time? 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Class 9. Lovely. No. That's Python's what you can say functionality or advantage. What is that you bring to the Python programming?
The basic was already. We have to just actually do with Python programmer is going beyond. So already the basic stuff that is how that is what
Good. Thank you. Great. But one thing is there. I don't need a Python programmer in my team. If I have to build an AI product, I don't need a Python programmer in my team. I can go to Gemini, I can go to ChatGPT or many others out there and just get what I want. So, how many of you have tried that out? How many of you have tried getting codes from ChatGPT and all? Oh, ma'am, you know when you give them the assignments, you know where the codes are coming from. You know this. And how many of you have verified whether these are correct? Okay. Have you got 100% results always? Never. Then why are you still trying? Waste of time?
It's like 98% right, but 2 to 3% you have to correct it.
And how can you quantify that?
Because I have verified that.
How many times did you do that? I'm going to ask all this question because you gave me a number. Give me a ration about those numbers. No, sit down. You don't have to stand up. Huh?
So, like, when I code for, I need a code for some situation, like, random, like, I have to, जैसे बोल रहा हूँ उस चीज को लिखना है. So for that I have to use that. So उसके लिए जब मैं यूज कर रहा हूँ उसके अंदर, like, starting line ठीक है, second line ठीक है, third line ठीक है. एक दो जगह पर वो कुछ ना कुछ एरर, मतलब हमें डीबग करना पड़ेगा उसको, जो कि not for as our standards होगा और
Okay, I'll ask you another question. And I'll ask questions. I'm not here to answer questions that you have, but I'll come back to you in a moment. How many of you know about Porter's value chain? Have you heard of this name, Michael Porter? Anybody? Guys, you're in AI. Come on. How many of you know about Alan Turing? वो इमिटेशन गेम पे बेनेडिक्ट कम्बरबैच ने एक एक्टिंग की थी, उस पे मत जाना. उसके अलावा किसी को पता है ट्यूरिंग ने क्या किया था? You know? I trust you on that. So, have you heard of Michael Porter? Perhaps he was the best business strategist who was living now, right now. So he's there. And his book on strategy is the ultimate book for us, all of us in business. Now the reason I'm saying is this: you cannot, and I would go to this extent to say it's a sin that you think AI is different from business. It's a tool. It's a great tool. But where will you use it? I give you a hammer. Does that mean that you're going to go and start hammering everywhere? Why I mentioned Porter's value chain? Have you ever thought what you're doing, where is going to be used? कि नहीं यार ऐसे पैसे अच्छे मिलते हैं यार, कोर्स कर लेते हैं, अच्छी खासी सैलरी मिल जाएगी, 10-15 लाख मिल जाएंगे शुरू के अंदर, AI के अंदर जाते हैं, काम करते हैं. Have you ever thought why AI? What it can do? Have you ever thought किसका फायदा क्या करने का? So many a times when our parents, and I went through that also, okay, I'm not saying that I also went through that when they say, we question them, मैं क्यों करूँ ये? And in your mind, even when your principal or teacher or anybody says that you do this, why should I do this? But you don't verbalize it. Why? A, because you are fearful of repercussions. B, because you don't want to sound impolite to the teachers, because you know your marks are dependent on that. अगर teacher मूड खराब हो गया गया तुम्हारा नंबर, ठीक है? And corporate life is not that different. But you politely ask. Have you ever asked? Coming back to the question that I asked, do you know what 5 whys, Porter's value chain? Before you get into AI, start thinking where AI is applied. How many of you have actually gone ahead and done a research on industry first, domains, and then gone through the use cases? Because I know the moment I talk about use cases, you'll be able to work out. जैसे Python programming करेंगे step आ जाएगा. So you can go back to the skills slide, please. Yes. Skills slide, please. Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Creative thinking. You know, technology literacy is 3rd. AI and big data is 7th skill. And this is something that we worked along with World Economic Forum. You understand what creative thinking, analytic thinking is? Yes. The gentleman there who has been programming since class 9, he understands that, he knows that. But he's, as you say, he's unconsciously competent in that. He doesn't know it. तू रोड़ी है भाई, तेरे को नहीं पता. वो बोलते हैं ना, तू रोड़ी है, तेरे को नहीं पता. वो वाली बात है. ठीक है? So, how many of you? Now your first homework is you go out today of this session, these sessions, you're going to get Porter's value chain Googled, number 1. Take that, take any industry, any domain, go deep dive and see what are the applications of AI there. Data science and AI. Because without data science, there's no AI. There's a machine doing data science is AI. Okay? We do statistical stuff out there. Regression हमको बनाना पड़ेगा, y is equal to ax plus b, straight line निकालनी है. वो चीज मशीन करती है ना, यही है ना AI basically. और AI क्या है? Does AI work in isolation? What do you mean by an AI expert? Can anybody tell me what is the definition of an AI expert? You guys are from AI, all of you. I can speak. It's my home turf. AI. Just want to add a piece of information. I'm a maths graduate and an MBA. Okay, I'm not an engineer, but I'm an AI expert. I can say that. Why? Just because I work in last 4 years, in 4, 5, 7, 10, whatever years in AI, would that make me an AI expert? Do you think knowing technology and working with technology is going to give you any edge over others? Yes or no? Yes? Oh, yes. Sure. How?
Sir, I think, if I know what technology and I work on it, I will know much more better than my colleagues.
More better, these are all comparative, very qualitative, no quantitative. Corporate world, you have to be quantitative. Why do you think? Now you bring me any technologies in the world. My simple question would be, sir, इसका एप्लीकेशन कहाँ हुई है? मैडम इसकी एप्लीकेशन मेरे को बताओ. ये काम कैसे करती है? वो तो ठीक है, मेरे को नहीं जाना इसके अंदर. भाई तुमने जो एल्गोरिथम लगाया है, डीप लर्निंग का लगाया, न्यूरल नेटवर्क का, RNN, CNN सब लगा दिया आपने. करता क्या है, बोलना क्या चाहते हो, वो सुना ना 3 Idiots में, कहना क्या चाहते हो, तो सिंप्लीफाई करना पड़ेगा ना अपने को. You are right. I'm not saying you are incorrect. You are correct. All I'm going to say is that fine tune, like you fine tune models in AI. Correct. You do the fine tuning of models. That's how what you need to fine tune. So the homework, and I'll come back to all of you. I'll know who has attended these sessions. So homework is POTUS value chain. Take one insurance, retail. Doesn't matter, it's life insurance, general insurance, retail, CPG, any of the sectors that you have seen over here. Because there are no sectors in this entire business ecosystem which are not touched by AI. Take any, even with environment and sustainability, there are AI applications there. Even if it's responsible AI, of course, there are so many. Okay? Then, the reason I'm saying is this, then you'll get to know when you start researching this. When you start researching, you'll get to know where your interest area lies. It's just not that you'll get into top 10 IT companies in the world. Okay? There are companies like the sectors which consume IT, the analog sector. If you look at that's what we call digital sectors and analog sectors, CPG retail, BFSI, healthcare. The applications of AI there are immense. So what you need to do is to understand the applications of AI first, how it's done, and of course, the course that you're going through, what you're studying over here, it will help you to give you that technical knowledge. It will create the foundation. But to strengthen the foundation, I would suggest that you pick up some courses from Future Skills. So design thinking, for example. What is design thinking? Can anybody tell me? I'm talking to students, not sirs, because I know you are experts. Design thinking, is it thinking about design? I'll count till, let's say, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
We have
8,
some answers.
9. Yeah.
It's a problem technique, how you solve it.
आपको इतनी देर क्यों लगी? डर रहे थे कि गलत हो जाओगे सबके सामने? मैं भी यहाँ पे खड़ा हूँ, मुझे पता है मैं सब सच नहीं बोल सकता, सच तो बोलता हूँ मैं, पर बात यह है कि मुझे पता है कि इन्फॉर्मेशन कम हो सकती है. I can make myself look as stupid, but if you are afraid of that, there is no fun in going out and work. And I ask so many questions. All I have is questions. Good, thank you. It's a problem solving technique.
First step towards
The right, correct answer.
Okay, let me clarify.
No, sir, you don't have to clarify. No. You don't have to clarify. She's smart. She's smart. Did I say that you cannot use Google? अभी हम सब सेशन कर रहे थे, बहुत जने अपने फोन पे लगे हुए थे व्हाट्सएप पे, भाई क्या यार बोर कर रहे हैं यार, भाई ये क्या हो रहा है, क्या बोल रहे हैं, ऊपर से ओएसटी हो रहा है, ये ब्रेक कब होगा, ब्रेक भी नहीं दिया यार, ये सब हो गया, ये हो रहा था ना यार. मैं आप जैसा ही हूँ, चिंता मत करो, मैं अच्छी तरह जानता हूँ, पर किसी ने फोन लेके ये नहीं कहा एजुकेशन पर्पस के लिए यूज नहीं किया, देखने के डिजाइन थिंकिंग क्या है. मैंने आपको रोका था? नहीं ना. For example, in my team, I tell guys, I need this. This is my objective. This is what success looks like. This is it. Bring in a plan. सर हमको आता नहीं, तो मैंने कहा भाई AI में है तो AI यूज करना. I actually kicked that person out of my team. I will, please sit down. There's nothing wrong to use AI to answer, but your academic integrity will depend upon how you thought through it. Okay. Good. But you're smart. You took a place where you're sitting with an expert. Right place, right time, right person. Good. That's smart. So, hey, hi Janvi, how are you? Now, why did I pick her out? I remember she was my intern at Nasscom. Please sit down. Why? Why do you think I hired her and offered Harshita? And Harshita was far more smarter that she didn't pick it up. But that's okay. I won't hold you for that. Don't worry. Why? Why do you think? How many of you were in my session when these two girls were there? How many of you? Do you recall the way they questioned me there? Do you recall? They did not take what I was showed on that point. You were there. And I was like, पता नहीं यार ये मतलब कुछ पूछ लिया उठा के बच्चों ने क्या बात है यार. So that is how I started coming to this institute to teach, not to teach but help you learn. I don't teach you. And these two stood out. Why? They were not afraid. Don't be afraid. I like what Uday had presented earlier. Swami Vivekananda says lions. The only quality that lion has over all the other animals, we call it the king of the jungle. Why? Because he's not afraid of anything. Except for the lioness. That's a different story. The lion is not afraid of anybody, any other creature that's out there. If it has to hunt, it will go out and hunt. When it's full, it will never even look at the other. That's the quality that you need to have. That's just, don't be afraid of asking questions, because this question doesn't know, or you don't know whether this question will lead you to your next job, next internship. You never know. You just never know. Okay? Any questions that you have regarding the AI careers and all? How many of you have you ever appeared for an interview? Okay. So what was the first thing that did they ask you? Tell me about yourself. Standard one? So tell me about yourself. That's fine. Then they said, tell me about yourself. You know, I was interviewed. I'll tell you, this is a true story. Okay. There was this reasonably doing company, and I was doing my own business and was not doing great. So I said, चल ठीक है यार, business नहीं हो रहा है, चल ठीक है, नौकरी कर लेते कहीं पे. I went there. He said, tell me about yourself. I looked at the person. I said, all I can tell you about myself is that I'm walking out right now. And I walked away. I said, you had my resume, my entire thing in front of you. You did not even read it. And you're asking me to come and work for you. You have the data with you. You had everything. You could have asked. So, Madhav, why do you think that you're a good fit? I would have still answered that. But tell me about something about yourself. Something about yourself. क्या मेरे को बहुत सारी चीजें बताने के लिए. I'm not arrogant over here. It's just that I thought it's a waste of my time. Would you do that? Why? Why wouldn't you do that? डर लगता है ना? जितनी जरूरत उनको है ना, आपको है ना नौकरी की, उनको ही उतनी जरूरत आपकी है. देखा ना गैप, 51% गैप. वो क्यों नहीं हो रहा है? वो क्यों नहीं फिल हो रहा है? So another startup I went to, they said that we require somebody, and I was into strategy consulting. I have been a strategy consultant. So the founder calls me and says, okay, Madhav, it's great to meet you. I wanted to discuss with you. I know I would like to tell you what my company does. I'm sure that you must have gone through the internet and found out what we do and all. So, any questions before I start? The first question I asked, why did you start a company? What's the vision? What's the mission? What are the objectives? What do you want to achieve in the next 5 years? I said, sir, I have 5 questions. Is it okay with you? And I started asking these questions. He looked at me, paused, took a pause, 2 minutes pause, and that silence was deafening. Okay, 2 minutes you are in front of anyone, you're not speaking. He looked at me and said, how much salary would you want? I said, how much can you pay? How much can you afford? What's your budget? It was like, and I asked him why. He said, you're the first person who has asked me about my vision, my objective. So now I know that you will work according to what the objective of the firm is, not because you have to work over here. Now that is something you need to know. When you research for a company, why this company is in the market, what it does, why it does what it does. Another 5 whys. So go home, read about 5 whys, Porter's value chain, okay? AI. Anything else about AI? What is AI? Anybody knows what is AI? Definition. अरे यार इतने डर क्यों रहे हो? गलती तो हो गए, इनकरेक्ट ही होंगे. मैं जज थोड़ी हूँ बोलूँगा जी. चलो जी. सजा मौत थोड़ी कहूँगा मैं यहाँ पे. हाँ जी बोलो. ऑटोमेशन थ्रू मशीन्स, गुड गुड। और कुछ? आपको पता है आंसर यार, बाकी को चांस देते हैं यार, आपको बहुत चांस दिया है। यू आर ऑलरेडी इन माय गुड बुक्स, डोंट वरी। हाँ जी, एआई, व्हाट इज आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस? Who coined it? Who coined this term? Yeah. Harshita, Janvi, and Vaibhav will not answer. हाँ जी, रॉबर्ट मैककार्थी का नाम सुना है किसी ने? Do you know the history of AI? Now, this silence for me is unacceptable. Let me tell you this. Another homework, you go out and read the history of AI. You want to make a career in AI? Actually want to make a career in AI? You want to get placed in any of those top firms or startups or companies? Read the history of AI first. Why they did what they did. Why you are doing what you will be doing. That's first skill. For me, if you ask, the top skill over here is curiosity and lifelong learning. And everything started. Can machines think like humans? This was the question that Alan Turing had, which started this all. But the history of AI goes way back. So if I would tell you today, my first point of assessment, the first skill that I look is if that person has curiosity and lifelong learning. कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता फ्रेश ग्रेजुएट हो या आप सीनियर लोग हो. I was interviewing somebody who had like 23 years of experience, a technology guy. My boss said, "Madhav, जरा बात कर ले उससे." तो ठीक है. So I said, "Yes, how would you define AI?" And that person went into such great lengths राष्ट्रग्राम संदेश देने के लिए. मैंने भाई छोटी सी बात पूछी थी, एक सेंटेंस में बता दे AI क्या है. मैं उसको नहीं रखना. क्यों? तो मैं इसे if I present him in front of my stakeholders, this guy will not let the other stakeholders understand anything. If you can't explain it in one sentence, that person did not learn that skill. In spite of being 23 years in the industry. One sentence. If I walk from here till the exit, you should be able to tell me what you do, who you are. So these are the skill sets that we will walk you through in next 16 to 15 to 18 months, but just don't wait for 18 months. If I were actually imagine this entire thing, sir, then I would have given them 10 months. In 10 months, you guys should be job ready. So much so, the companies come and say, okay, I know that there's a talent over here and I want to go and get you into the company. So what will you guys do? Any thoughts? क्या करोगे सेशन के बाद में? भूल जाओगे? पर बोलो यार, मारूंगा नहीं मैं, चिंता मत करो. बोलो जी, बोलो.
सर घर में सर्च करेंगे, जो आपने बोला उसके बारे में पढ़ेंगे. मतलब नहीं, अभी कर लेंगे.
AI ऐसे काम करता है. AI anytime information, AI का ये भी होता है ना, anytime any information that you want, it gives you. अब तो आ गया ना सब. Start building up the attitude. I'll be not working on your aptitude because I know you can program well, you can code, decode, whatever is debug well. The faculty is doing fantastic job to pass on the knowledge that is there. But you guys need to have some attitude. चुप क्यों हो यार? जहाँ चुप रहना चाहिए वहाँ हम होते ही नहीं. Okay, let me ask you, what are the types of AI? AI की सबसेट्स क्या है? ऐसे हाथ नहीं होता है, हाथ ऐसे खड़ा होता है. डरना नहीं है. क्या हो गया? आपको आता है ना? पता है? बोलिए. Okay. Okay, what's your name? Khushi. Let's have a round of applause for Khushi. अच्छा, आंसर उन्होंने दिया, ताली आपने क्यों बजाई है? बताओ. अब मैंने बोला इसलिए. Did you appreciate her genuinely or just because I said so? I like the honesty, but you should not be that brutally honest. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. So guys, this is your opportunity. You got 10 months. 10 months down the line, I'll be here in this campus. Of course, I'll be here regularly. Down the line, I'm going to ask you questions as if I were hiring you. Okay, and at that point of time, and no, I will not give you any sample question paper. वो होता है ना most important करके आप कर ले तो guest paper में वो मैं देने वाला नहीं हूँ. मैं सीधे आगे बोलूँगा अच्छा बताओ भाई क्या ख्याल है AI के बारे में क्या ख्याल है तुम्हारा? What do you think of AI? Okay. When I ask you what do you think of AI, what do you interpret in your mind? What am I asking?
After your question.
I think हाँ 3 मिनट और है फटाफट बताओ भाई क्या मैं बोल दिया आप जवाब दोगे आप नहीं दोगे जवाब आपने दे दिया आपने भी दे दिया आपने सही जवाब दिया था सबने सो आप बताइए मेरे को जब मैं बोलता हूँ व्हाट डू यू थिंक ऑफ एआई व्हाट्स दैट आई एम आस्किंग हाँ जी बुलंद आवाज में बोलिए
काफी लोग यहाँ पे कहेंगे कि ऑटोमेशन होता है ये सारी चीजें होती है बट मेरे लिए आई थिंक कि वो एक जूनियर है अभी के लिए मेरे लिए वो जूनियर है कैसे कि अगर फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम मेकिंग एनी ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट्स ठीक है तो अगर मेरे को कोई भी चीज चाहिए होती है फॉर एग्जांपल आई एम मेकिंग अ वेबसाइट फॉर यू फॉर एनी ऑफ यू सो मैं उसे बस ये कहूंगा कि वेबसाइट बना के लेकिन जो मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि मेरे को कैसे दिखनी चाहिए वीडियो वो वैसे नहीं करते एंड आल्सो यू आल्सो आस्क वन क्वेश्चन कि क्या वो एरर्स देता है अभी क्या अभी वो इतना है I think yes, it gives error, and I have tried it for myself, and as well as I was doing a freelance project. तो मैंने उस चीज को ट्राई करके देखा, and उसमें लेकिन वो कितना errors देगा, लेकिन वो एक लेवल तक वो काफी अच्छे से काम करता है.
ठीक है.
You know the basics.
ठीक है. ठीक है. तो अच्छा तो मैंने जो आपको क्वेश्चन पूछा अभी कि what do you think of AI? What I was asking, alluding to.
I think you asked that for
No, what is AI? मैंने पूछा आपका क्या ख्याल है AI के बारे में? I wanted your point of view. So guys, remember this. One, there are standard definitions and all. The other thing is how you interpret it. Okay? With these thoughts, I conclude today's lecture. हाँ, future skills prime के बारे में बता सकते हैं हम लोग. So, once you sign on future skills for the additional courses to enhance your skills,
Generative AI. We have generative AI courses.
we have all generative AI courses, all what you can think of that are there. You can actually go and log into Nasscom Talent Connect, which means the industry came to us and said, भाई साहब टैलेंट की बड़ी कमी है क्या करें यूज केस दीजिए बताइए लोगों को क्या क्या काम करते हो आप सो इफ यू गो देयर if you qualify, the key word is qualification. If you qualify there, then you will be in that talent pool where industry will come first to look, to hire. Then they will go out. Correct, Kaamna? And then we have Nasscom Prime Career Fairs, which definitely, sir, wait, sir, I'll notify you, and we can invite the students over here to join. Any career fair, go there. Even if you don't need a job that point of time, just go there and understand what people are doing. So Nasscom Career Fair is attended by who's who of the IT companies. And even non-IT companies who are looking forward to hire. And AI in such a demand, they will always go ahead and take a look at that. With that, thank you so much for your time, patience. One last parting thought. यार कामना जी है ना मेरी कलीग है मैं उनको बोलता हूँ मैं यहाँ पे जाके बच्चों को पढ़ाता हूँ यहाँ पे VIPS में ठीक है यार बेइज्जती मत खराब करो यार मेरी इनके सामने नेक्स्ट टाइम मत करना यार एक बार तो चलता है ठीक है थैंक यू
Thank you, Madhav and Kaamna ji. I think fantastic session between Subbu and the Nasscom team of Madhav ji and Kaamna. I think we have said it's just the beginning, as I said, journey. Beginning to make you what? To make you what? I showed you that ad. Rock stars. In the process, my friend Subbu also will become, we will rename him. In my phone, in my mobile phone, I have saved his number as Subbu HR. I have not put in, human resources. From tomorrow, I'm going to change it to Subbu, human rockstar. So this is a journey to make you rockstar. So I'm not joking. This is not a joking joke session, or it's not a humor. I think you guys have a fantastic opportunity of truly becoming rockstars of whatever you're studying, rockstars of VIPS, rockstars of the industry. That is our goal. So anyway, thank you, Madhav, and thank you, Kaamna ji. So Deepali ma'am. So just one or two comments before we break for lunch. Can you just calm down, please? Quiet. So calm down, please. So the one important announcement which I am re-emphasizing, we already made this some time back. How many of you attended couple of other sessions in the last, let's say, 2 or 3 months? We said that we are committed to setting up a center of excellence here. You heard? Any of you heard this? We presented even at I think the earlier summits that we did 2 months back. And we have the commitment of Chairman and Vinitji, Vice Chairman, that we are going to set up a world-class center of excellence here. And you know what the world-class center of excellence will revolve around? Yes. What? So we are going to set up a center of excellence for futuristic technologies and skills. This is what the most important thing is going to be for you for you and the junior batches over the next, let's say, 10 years or 15 years. And we are bringing in world-class companies and world-class organizations like Nasscom and Nasscom Future Skills. We have your commitment that future skills will be part of the Center of Excellence, right? So verbal commitment, we will see how to structure the entire format over. So that is, I think I'm expecting Vinitji. I think we should have that before June at least. In fact, tomorrow we have another very distinguished speaker who will set up a Center of Excellence in one of the universities. We will take his guidance. We'll take Professor Sadgopan's guidance and some of the experts in the advisory group, and our intention is to set it up before June, so that you and your junior batches will benefit significantly. So thank you, and I think let's come back. More excitement in the next 2 hours later, post lunch. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll now have a half an hour break. Kindly join back at 1:30.